was just thinking a lot about this the other day, and like stop motion animation specifically has like always really really excited me, just because I feel like there is so much left to explore. You know, it's like people are like painting's dead, painting's dead, whatever. And I'm just like stop motion is a lot. Like it feels like there's still just so much, because it's only limited to like what you have in the world, which is everything. Like everything is your stage. You can use any physical object. You can defy the laws of physics. You know, you can defy the laws of whatever. Like laws of nature, gender, like race, anything. You don't have to abide by any of that in animation. Generally speaking, you can really do whatever you want. And I think like that is the most exciting thing to me, because you can just totally rewrite the rules of whatever world you want to create. Yeah.
Just a quick question, and then I think we're going to the audience next. So if you have a question that you'd like to ask, be ready. I believe that when I see this film, one of the things that just rises up in me is this recognition of how hungry I've been for sincerity in the culture. It seems like we've been we've turned sarcasm into an art form, into our culture, especially when it comes to our storytelling. And there's such a sincerity in Marcel as a character, but also just the story just feels pure in so many ways. Do you believe that this story is an outlier in our culture, or do you believe that this may be at the head of a wave we're going to see, that there is a hunger for this type of sincerity that we're going to see a lot more of?
I think there's a hunger for it. Yeah. When you first started that question, I had to share. I immediately thought of this meeting I had with a Nickelodeon executive, like probably 15 years ago, and it was just a general. And I was like, "What kind of projects are you interested in?" And I was like, "Well, if I were to make a show at Nickelodeon, it'd probably be like, Doug. Like, you guys ever see Doug on Nickelodeon? Like, I grew up with Doug, and I was like, it'd probably be like Doug, I remember she was just like, she kind of poo-pooed it, and she's like, we don't make things, like, Doug is too sincere. Like, we don't make shows like that anymore. She literally said it was too sincere. Yeah.
That was a huge hit, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, it seems like it is.
I was a kid. I don't know anything about the ratings, but the fact that it was like, oh, nobody wants anything that like heartfelt and sincere anymore, and I was like offended by that. I was like, oh, this sucks. And that was, so long ago, but I keep, like, it sticks in my brain where I was like, I'll show you, sincerity's gonna come back. So I mean, that's another huge reason why like working on this film has been like one of the most gratifying projects of my entire career, like so fulfilling and so wonderful, because like it's absolutely sincere and so beautiful in that fact. Like I only want to work on things that are like that like have that at their heart,
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the sarcasm that was big 10 years ago has turned into stuff that is not even clear if it's sarcasm or just a terrible perspective on the world. Like almost like it doesn't matter. Like there's a thing called compromat where the Russian government, if there's a bad story that comes out about them, they'll flood the information market with like tons of just random information, just so you're kind of like, I can't even tell what's true. And there's a form of like humor that has gotten to there that is sometimes like really stimulating, because you're like, what is this? This barely makes sense. Like I'm locked into this, but it doesn't give you a feeling of meaning or connection or recognition at all. So I think like the films that are getting celebrated this year, Everything Everywhere is a great example. It's like so sincere.
Which also makes, sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah.
it also makes me think, I just heard them talking about something about how like, there's all these like young people on TikTok now where the whole meme is like, not even meme, but like the whole thing is like, we go see Everything Everywhere to like then film ourselves crying afterwards. It's like about celebrating the vulnerability and celebrating the feelings. Like I think like sarcasm is gonna die out with millennials, and then Gen Z is all about like vulnerability and feelings.
I think so too. I think that's a great, that rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think to make a comedy like that, being really sincere does not lend itself to comedy. Like it's very hard to find an intersection between like really funny and really sincere. And I was trying to describe why this movie is funny to someone. Because like if you write down everything, well, there's not really jokes. Like there's not really like normal jokes in this movie. It's more the oddities of a character's perspective. But usually that oddity in comedy is somebody is like more cynical or dark or something. It's much easier to go that way than it is to like be really funny in a sincere way. So I think part of it is, and it's also much more emotionally guarded to be sarcastic. Like you don't like to just say like, here's the craze and like write that down and be like, that's the whole joke. Like, he's gonna point out that he has a craze. That's it. And just, like have that on the page and be like, okay, that's my joke. That's the best joke I can think of. Like
My
that's
favorite
a,
books are really about that.
yeah, oh, it's amazing. So that takes, I didn't write that, so I can say that takes bravery. And so yeah, it's much easier, I think, to make a comedy that feels a little bit more like edgy and cynical than a comedy that's really sincere and sweet.